Putin tells NATO allowing long-range missiles would equal direct involvement in war. Russian President Vladimir Putin told reporters on September 12 that if NATO allows Ukraine to strike inside Russia with Western-supplied long-range missiles, it would be tantamount to becoming directly involved in the war and would change the nature of the conflict. If this decision is taken, it will mean nothing less than the direct involvement of NATO countries, the United States and European countries in the war in Ukraine, Putin told Russian state television. This will be their direct participation, and this, of course, will significantly change the very essence, the very nature of the conflict. The Russian leader made the comments during an interview with Russian state television. Putin said Ukraine, lacking the military intelligence capability, would rely on US and European allies for satellite targeting data and programming of the missiles' flight paths. So this is not a question of allowing the Ukrainian regime to strike Russia with these weapons or not, Putin said. It is a question of deciding whether or not NATO countries are directly involved in a military conflict. Putin added that Russia will make appropriate decisions in response to the threats that will be posed to us. His comments came after the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and British Foreign Minister David Lammy met with President Volodymyr Zelensky in Ukraine to discuss ongoing military support for Kyiv. Kyiv has been requesting long-range weaponry, including the U.S. Army Tactical Missile System and British Storm Shadow missiles, to be used in Russian territory, with Zelensky warning Western leaders that delaying such a decision allows Russia to relocate its army deeper into its territory. So, if our partners lift restrictions, it would be highly desirable for this to be part of Ukraine's victory strategy, rather than just a political strategy. Lifting restrictions should mean truly lifting them, Zelensky said in a September 12 statement, following his meeting with U.S. and British officials. Blinken said in a press conference after the meeting with Zelensky that Ukraine's military needs and capabilities were among the topics discussed. The principal topic we discussed was military capability and their reinforcement, air defense, F-16s, munition, drones, armored vehicles, and other equipment. Everything that can work for victory, he said. Blinken said the United States will adapt the support provided to Ukraine as needed. Just speaking for the United States, from day one, as you heard me say, we have adjusted and adapted as needs have changed, as the battlefield has changed, and I have no doubt that we'll continue to do that as this evolves, Blinken said. The bottom line is this: we want Ukraine to win, and we're fully committed to keep marshaling the support that it needs for its brave defenders and citizens to do just that. During the press conference in Ukraine, Lammy pointed to what he called a recent, significant and dangerous escalation in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, referring to Iranian drones, missiles, and munitions being transported to Russia. The escalator here is Putin, Lammy said. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer echoed those comments on September 12 while en route to Washington, where he is set to meet President Joe Biden to discuss Ukraine's possible use of British-made Storm Shadow cruise missiles on Russian soil. Russia started this conflict, Starmer told reporters on board his flight. Russia illegally invaded Ukraine. Russia can end this conflict straight away. Blinken said on September 10 that Moscow will likely use the FAT-360 close-range ballistic missiles in Ukraine soon. Dozens of Russian military personnel have been trained in Iran to use the FAT-360 close-range ballistic missile system, which has a maximum range of 75 miles. Russia has now received shipments of these ballistic missiles and will likely use them within weeks in Ukraine against Ukrainians, Blinken said in London. Iran's foreign ministry denies providing ballistic missiles to Russia, the semi-official ISNA news agency reported. Ministry spokesman Nasser Kanaani said publishing wrong and misleading reports about transferring Iranian weapons to some countries is merely an ugly propaganda and lie. Speaking to reporters on September 9, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov described Tehran as an important partner for Moscow. Iran is our important partner. We are developing our trade and economic relations. We are developing our cooperation and dialogue in all possible areas, including the most sensitive ones, Peskov said. Caden Pearson, the Associated Press, and Reuters contributed to this report.